My name is Mike, and I'm working on something besides a bike. Yeah, you know, I try to make it right. Don't know why. Anyway, if you've been following my channel, you've watched in the last couple episodes where this abandoned, unloved, pretty much given up all hope for Ford Falcon, I was able to purchase it really cheap and drag it home, and you know, we're going to try to resurrect it. Now, a lot of people might think it's a lost cause, and it is, but I'm an idiot, so I'm going to try and make it roadworthy again. Some parts have finally started landing. The last couple episodes, we thought we'd get it running, but we were hung up waiting for a piston, which we're still hung up waiting for. But it's supposed to arrive today in the mail, and I'll run it over to the machine shop real quickly and get that rod pressed into it. But in the meantime, I've been doing some little stuff. As parts land, we try to get a little progress done. I got the correct shift bowl, and I even painted it to match. Party, huh? It's pretty close to the original color. You know, just off the shelf spray paint. I got a gas tank out of a Bobcat. Yeah, it might fit. We're going to try to make it work since, you know, they want $100 for the right part. And I'm a cheapskate. I'd much rather spend $20 on the wrong part and, you know, do some cobbling to try to make it work. I got a fuel pump for it because, well, if I can get this installed, we got to get the gas from there to this thing. Speaking of gas, I went through a carburetor I had on the shelf. This is the original carburetor off the Rusty Grenade, which was a 200 cubic inch inline 6-cylinder, a distant relative of this one, but it's a little bit larger carburetor, so I had to modify the adapter plate just a little bit to, you know, make it so it can connect. But the good thing is this is a bigger carburetor, therefore it'll give it much more horsepower. No, probably not. It'll probably just flood out more. But at least I've got something to bolt on there when I get my piston put in and get the head put back on. So, stick around.
Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona, not far from historic Route 66, is an old fart trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. He'll work on anything, just as long as it's got at least 2 cool wheels.
So this is the emissions carburetor that came off of the 200 cubic inch 6-cylinder that came in the Rusty Grenade. So of course I did away with that engine, but I still had the carburetor, and I'm planning to use this on the Falcon. The problem is, because this is for a 200, it has a significantly larger diameter bore than the little itty bitty one that came on that 170. So here's the adapter plate. And this is, you know, for vacuum and to preheat the carburetor. And as you can see, I've taken a little bit of a grinder to it. This guy here made it big enough so the butterfly would open, but I also ended up having to elongate the holes for the carburetor so these would fit on the adapter. I'm not going to connect an electric choke. We're just going to use a choke cable for starting purposes on this. So that'll work just fine. I removed the solenoid, the center of this solenoid, so that the carb bowl vent can vent to the atmosphere instead of waiting for an electrical signal. So that's all been bypassed, and hopefully we can make this carburetor work, because it is a good carburetor. I took the lid off of it, I went in there and cleaned it all out real good, immediately tore the gasket, which is, you know, par for the course. Thank goodness for fuel-resistant RTV. So, that should make us a running intake system. Oh look, the original drum retaining clip thingies.
It's all original. Nobody's ever done brake work to it before. Them dang dirt daubers will build a nest anywhere. Goodness. Normally, I'm really lousy about ordering parts in advance. I usually wait until I run up against a problem, and then I gotta wait a week or two for the part to arrive. This time I'm trying to be a little more proactive and make sure I got the brake parts on the way. So clearly this line is a no-go. When I had this wheel off doing the tires, there was absolutely no brake hardware there at all. No shoes, no springs, no nothing. And there's still a cylinder there, but it's it's not even a question. That's probably junk. So I ordered an entire rear set of brake components, and you can see here where I don't know if you can see it in this light, they blocked off the line. So we got a line coming. This is just a vent hose. I don't know if this hose here is any good, but it's still there anyway. Brake cables are locked up solid, so probably have to get those, but I'm going to try to free them up once I take the rear shoes apart and everything. And the front brake hoses actually look okay-ish. No, they're rotted. We're going to see if they hold pressure. So, but I can't do any of that till I get a master cylinder. Brake pedal, it doesn't budge. And that's because, well, if you look at the master cylinder, there was either a brake light switch there or a bleed valve, something is missing right there. And of course water and moisture got in there and locked that thing up solid. Now the lines, they don't look too horrible, they're a little rusty. I did soak them down with some PB Blaster, let them soak for a week or two. So we'll get a master on it when it arrives, and we'll just check and see if we can get some pressure to the front too. I may have to order parts there as well, but at least I've ordered the parts I know for a fact I'm going to need. Alrighty, let's get a steering column put back together. Look what came in the mail today. So I got a brake master cylinder and I've got another piston. So I need to head down to the machine shop right away so he can get that wrist pin and that connecting rod pressed into place, and hopefully it won't disintegrate like the last one did.
Well, it's another day and I got good news. Finally have a usable piston to put into that open hole there. You know, it's good to have a piston. Like they say, it's better to be pissed on than pissed off. No, they don't say that. That's stupid. I just made that up. Anyway, our piston is going to go into the engine, and then we'll throw the lid on it and put the pan on it and see what we get. Alrighty, here we go now. Got my front side aimed front. Got stuff protecting the, like I should have done before. I got some tape around those studs so they don't damage the crank. So, should be good. Come on, scooch on in there, pal. Nice. You get a tappy. Alrighty then. Tappy. Scooch. Uh-oh, one of my rings went up. Gotta redo it. Come here, you. I hate it when that happens. I like these ring installation pliers. They're great, except you can't crank them down quite as tight as the ratchet type ring compressor. I've got one of the ratchet type. I just don't know where the hell I put it. This one will have to do. Okay, here we go again. Ring is compressed. Or depressed, not sure which. I think what I need to do. Squeeze. Come on, tap it. Even though. Alright, going down. Yes, she's in. Now, I did put some STP on the rings because I want something nice and thick on the sides of this piston because we've got little holes to fill as we shove her on down. So we want maximum lubrication for now, and we'll tappy a little ways down. I don't want to go all the way down until I'm sure it's lined up at the bottom. So let me run her up in the air and we'll go from there. Alrighty, she's right there. Come on down, little connecting rod and piston assembly. Can't quite pull it down. Let me just make sure it's aligned and I'll tap it down from the top. Just needs to scooch this way a little bit. There. Alright, pull this tape off of here. If it will, come off. What if it doesn't like me? Oh, there we go. That one likes me. I'm getting dripped on. Oh, come on, tape. Come off there, you little bugger. Oh, that's... Where did it go on? Oh, like that. Alright. We're good, I think. Alrighty then. So I put a little SDP on both of the bearings as well. So we'll get this back in place. So we've got plenty of ZDDP because STP has a large amount of ZDDP in it, which is good for these older engines and any engine really. The only reason modern lubricants don't have much ZDDP in them anymore is because it attaches to the catalyst in the catalytic converter and renders them ineffective. So certain other metals, that's why they took lead out of gas, different metals will attach to the catalytic converter. So they took the ZDDP out, or most of it. And so if you've got older vehicles or motorcycles or things that don't have catalytic converters, you gotta add it. All right, so if you'll recall, I pulled the cap off of number 2 and I put it back on, but I never did torque it. So I'm going to torque all these bolts here and we'll go from there. All right, Mr. Connecting Rod. Double check, and back over to number 2, verify it, cookie, check. All right, now we'll throw the oil pan back on and put some oil in it. Alrighty, she's back together. She's got oil in her. I'm going to go inside and twist on the newly installed ignition switch and see if the newly installed piston goes up and down. And that'll be very reassuring, because if that happens, well, we'll put the head back on it and it should run. Twisty. Hoist. And contact! Ho, ho, ho. I'm going to call that a win. All right, let's get the head on it. Now, having worked on this thing and spun the oil pump after straightening out the pan and the pickup tube, I'm still not real sure that the oiling system is doing its job properly. We saw lots of oil pressure to a lot of places, but I never did see any oil make it to the top of the engine block. So, off camera, I spun the engine a lot, and spun it, and spun it, and spun it. And never did any oil get up here to this little passage back here, this passage back here, which then feeds the oil to a small cutout in the bottom of the cylinder head. From there, it follows this head bolt all the way up to a small oil galley that feeds the rocker perches. So, I should have oil there. I mean, the only place any oil is coming out is from where I left the drain plug out. Yeah, I lost about a quart down on the ground before it dawned on me. So I jumped under there real fast and put it back in. No, that's the only place where the oil was going, and it should have been coming out of that passage back there. I'm not happy with that. So, before I put the head on, what I think I'm going to do, we know there's oil pressure getting to that pressure switch, the oil pressure switch. We watched it operate on and off as we applied pump pressure. So what I'm going to do, I know oil's getting to that point, I'm going to take the oil pressure sending unit out and take an air nozzle with 100 psi of air pressure and push it down through that oil port, that oil galley, and see if I can blow out whatever's blocking the passage between there and the pressure sending unit. And hopefully that'll rectify the situation. It's certainly worth a try. That seems to have done the trick. If I push air pressure through that sending unit hole, I can feel air pressure coming out. So hopefully we'll find out. Looky there. Yay, we have oiling. Woohoo! Alrighty, I'm ready to put it back on. But because I'm old and weak and feeble and only have 2 or 3 muscles left that haven't been damaged, I'm going to assist some help from my buddy Eric. You guys remember Eric. He's the one who's courageous enough to ride along with me down to duct tape drags. So now both of us can throw our backs out and we can commiserate at the hospital together.
Share rooms.
Yeah. Here we go. Come on, Foot. Get up there. Yes.
We just tell them we want adjoining rooms.
Yeah. This is... cables and
Now
stuff.
be sure to knock those cables off.
Yeah. Good. Alright, let's see if we can get that bad boy going. So, other way. Turn it around. This is the back. Alright, got it. Alright, sweet. I think I can get her from here. I got some alignment studs there.
Okay.
she is. All right, thank you, Eric.
Okay.
I could have done it without you, but then you'd have to come visit me in the hospital. So, all right, let's get some bolts. We'll get to torquing. Thank you, my friend. I know you've got a motorcycle problem to deal with, so I'll be by your house again in a little bit.
All right.
Now, two of the bolts go into coolant passages. This one here and the one right above this coolant passage here. So we put a little RTV on a couple of these just to ensure we don't have a coolant leak around them. Drop these all in. This thing's gonna run. I got a piston in it. Yes. I got an oiling system. Yes. I got a starter, an ignition switch, a fuel pump. Yes. Why am I spending so much money on junk? Guy's got to have a hobby, right? That was the other one. There we go. All right, here we go. Well, here it is, the moment of truth. Will the old girl fire up? Pop even. So we've got a new fresh set of spark plugs in it. I've got the key turned on, battery hooked up, and the remote starter in place so I can, fiddle with the carburetor. I probably got vacuum leaks and stuff, but I plugged off everything that I could. Let's just see if it does anything. Contact. Oh wait, fuel. Get a little juice here. Put a little in the carb bowl. Oh yeah. And a little bit right down the old throat. Alright, let's try that again. Contact! Uh-oh, wait. Oh, the fan doesn't spin. Never mind. Oh, now my starter goes out? Are you serious? No, it's spinning. Woohoo! I like it. It's almost there. Almost. Let's see if I like starting food better. Come a little closer. Choke it. Woo! Running out of juice. Let's get some more juice. Fire when ready. Where's my button? Let's bring that lighter up a little. smoking. Well, there it is, guys. She runs. You know, I could keep it running, but first, well, before I can take it for a drive, it's going to need a fuel system. But once that's done, it's good to go. No, even if I get a fuel system in it, well, I couldn't run it very long because I don't have a cooling system either. So that's all it needs. It needs a fuel system and a cooling system. But even then, I really couldn't drive it because, well, the exhaust pipe is just cut off and the fumes would come right through that rotted away floorboard into the passenger compartment. So before I can make a drivable car out of it, I'm going to need a fuel system and a cooling system and an exhaust system. And that's all it needs. Well, the battery would go dead because I don't have a charging system. So all it needs is a fuel system, a cooling system, an exhaust system, and a charging system. And then it would drive. But then it wouldn't stop. So I also need a brake system. Alright, so all I need is a fuel system, cooling system, an exhaust system, a charging system, and a brake system. That's all I need. It's a good thing it doesn't have any cosmetic issues as well. Well, come on back to the next episode. We'll start putting some of those systems together. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to tell your friends what an idiot I am. And hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, and all those little clicky things. I'd sure appreciate it. See you next time. I fixed the carburetor. Yay me! Watch this.